The clock is ticking just 24 hours until Presidents Biden and Trump take the stage in Atlanta for the first presidential debate of the 2024 cycle. Most Americans, 6 in 10, in fact, say they plan to watch the debate. This, as Real Clear Politics reports, President Trump leads by about a point nationally and in 6 of the 7 swing states. And it's already getting ugly in Atlanta. Look what the DNC did. They paid for billboards to welcome Trump to town tomorrow. 5 billboards reading, "Welcome to Atlanta," for the first time since becoming a convicted felon. Congrats or whatever. With more on what to expect ahead of the debate, I'm joined by Politico senior political writer Melanie Mason. Always good to have you, Melanie. Thanks for being with us tonight. Let's start with how the fact that this debate is going to look very different in that, well, for starters, there will be commercials. There is no audience. The mics will be turned off when someone is not speaking. No pre-written notes or props. What is your take on these? Who will this benefit more than the other, you think?
Well, and let's talk about the biggest change of them all, which is it's June. It's June, and we are talking about a presidential debate. Usually when we're thinking about the presidential general election debates, we're thinking about the fall. And yet it was interesting that both candidates decided that they wanted to get the game going early. I think that that's really a window, particularly into where President Biden's thinking is. As you noted, he is lagging in the polls, particularly in some of these swing states. And so if he wants to sort of change the dynamic of the trajectory of this race, and in particular really sharpen the contrast between him and former President Trump, he wants to have this debate happen. So the fact that we are seeing these two candidates meet so early in the general election, I think, is really a sign of sort of what the mentality of both of the campaigns are.
Yeah, and depending on how it works out for either one, this may be the only one that they do. We talked about that a little bit last night. Alex did in a conversation with Real Clear Politics. So that's an interesting wrinkle that could play out. There is one more debate scheduled, hosted by ABC News. We'll see if that happens. Let's talk about how they are actually prepping for this debate, because it's very different. Biden, he is, huddled up at Camp David with 16 advisors. Trump, he's very much on the campaign trail. Both are already firing off shots at the other. What do you make of their debate prep?
I think that it kind of speaks to the type of candidates that they are, right? I mean, it is very old school for there to be sort of a sequestering away for debate prep, and that is what Biden is. He's an old school politician. I think it's interesting what we've seen from the Trump campaign in the lead up to this debate, not only in sort of trying to set expectations and both try to maybe downplay expectations for Biden, but then also say that he is, feeble and old and unable to carry a conversation for 90 minutes. So there's a little bit of two messages going on. But you also see in advance a little bit of working the refs. We've seen from the Trump campaign a lot of complaints about the CNN's moderators, sort of accusing them preemptively of being unfair. And again, I think that a lot of that is just to sort of set the stage for if the debate turns out that perhaps Trump is not as pleased with his performance, they've already identified perhaps a culprit. And so it is interesting to see from the two camps how you sort of pre-message or pre-spin, even though the debate hasn't happened yet.
Well, speaking of spin, there's someone that we know very well who will be in the spin room, and that is Governor Gavin Newsom. He's been tapped by the Biden administration to be in Atlanta tomorrow night and serve as a surrogate in the spin room. I heard some analysis on this today that this is a terrible idea for the Biden camp because he is young and vibrant versus what Biden is. What do you make of that analysis?
The perennial question about Newsom as a surrogate. And yet we still see the Biden campaign turn to Newsom quite a bit. He was at some of the Republican primary debates. He goes on Fox News, famously had that interview with Sean Hannity, where he really was sort of defender in chief for the president. So I think that the Biden campaign has sort of made the calculus. They like what they see from Newsom as a surrogate. They think that he is good at sort of mixing it up, particularly with maybe some of these more conservative media personalities, and really selling the case for Biden Biden. Look, if they didn't think that it was a benefit to the president to have him there, they would not have him there. So I think the fact that there was an invitation for Governor Newsom to show up and he's taking it, I think shows that both of these individuals see that it's mutually beneficial for Newsom to be there stumping for the president.
All right. Well, you can hear more from Melanie tomorrow night on a special live post-debate edition of The Issue Is. Alex will also be speaking with KFI's John Cobalt, Brian Goldsmith, and Chris Matthews, all right here on Fox 11. And Melanie, I will have a little part in tomorrow night's post-debate show as well. So I look forward to working with you again in about another 24 hours plus. Melanie, thanks so much for being with me tonight.
Can't wait. Thanks, Marla.
Okay.